Hey y'all, welcome to the Never Stop podcast with your host, your girl, Shari, all the way from Washington, D.C. Thanks to the Never Stoppers who have already been joining me since day one, listening and downloading the episodes. I see you guys. Thank you. And I really definitely want to thank anyone who's newly listening to the podcast today. I absolutely appreciate all of you for downloading. Please subscribe. And every week on Sunday, I will commit to uploading new episodes. So yeah, thank you guys. And those of you that know me know that I do not like to waste time. It's truly the Sagittarius in me. So let's get into episode 3, y'all. I did you wrong, you did me wrong. I take you back, you take me back. Y'all know I can't sing, but guess what? Y'all know that song, right? We all know that song. If you don't know the song by Pleasure P, you probably have witnessed or lived that life. So that is basically what today's topic is all about. It's actually titled, I Did You Wrong, You Did Me Wrong, Breaking the Patterns of Toxic Relationships. Let's go. Now, how many of us have witnessed good people be in terrible relationships, y'all? I mean, many of us have seen some awesome people, even growing up, and witnessed them in some horrible relationships. You may even have a girlfriend. You know, she's one of the sweetest girls you know, but she'll tell you how she wants to introduce you to a guy she's dating. And as soon as you meet this guy, if you're around him a couple times, you can automatically tell he is toxic. You know, you can automatically identify he is not for your girl. We've seen it. He's not talking to her respectfully. He may be eyeballing you. You may see her already way too early in the relationship, overextending herself, already allowing this man to stay overnight with her, driving her vehicles. I mean, I'm sure guys see it too. Guys that are already helping a woman out way too early in the relationship. You know, she's already helping care for his children, or vice versa for a man. Overall, you know, the person is using their resources way too much to support this person that you clearly can tell is toxic, is not a reciprocator. And how many of us have gotten a call from a friend about an awesome guy that she met, but there's always a but, right? He may be separated, or he's not separated yet, but he's going to be separated. Y'all know he's in a situation. Yeah, you know. How many of us have counseled our friends in the middle of the night when they've called us broken down because they have been truly betrayed by a man, by someone, just to have to still break bread with that man 2 weeks later because you're at her house and now she's chosen to take him back? I'll never forget, y'all. I had a friend that, honestly, her significant other had gotten caught having sex with a woman in her house while she was on vacation. And, you know, she had left the guy alone and everything like that, but ended up taking him back. And when I went over her house after a year of counseling her and being there to support her, you know, through the loneliness of that relationship, he was there. His name was on the mailbox. And, you know, as a friend, what could I do in that situation other than be a friend to her and be a support of her? So most of us can relate to one of these categories, you know, that we've seen our friends in. But what I really had to take account of, and that I think more importantly we all need to recognize, is, can we recognize these things in our very own relationships? You know, many of our own experiences may fit into these categories. And it's so easy to see a pattern in other individuals, but we really need to start being able to identify them within our own lives. How many of us have lost or damn near lost a friend because we saw them repeat patterns and we got fed up? I mean, I know friends who, you know, don't even want to answer the phone for that friend anymore because they recognize that through all the stories she's going to tell about this one or that one and how he's done her wrong, ultimately, we know it's a pattern. And you begin to see that she could be with Tyrone, Jermaine, Craig. It doesn't matter. Your girl has a pattern of behavior that continues to contribute, or at the least lead her to these types of men, to these types of experiences, to these types of relationships. It's a pattern. It's bigger than the people or the men. It's her. It's her decisions. It's her choices, how she feels about herself, her upbringing. You know, you might have met her mother, her father. You see the family dynamics, her previous relationships. You know what she's gone through, why she's tolerating certain behavior now, her faith or her lack thereof. You know, you see it all, what has led her or placed her in these compromised situations. Again, it is so easy to see it in others, but it's so much more difficult to see it within ourselves. But I believe, you guys, in order for us to never stop and to overcome the patterns that lead us to these toxic relationships, we have to begin to take accountability. Just like I wanted to shake my girl that took her man back, I needed to shake myself all these years. I've continued a pattern of behavior in relationships because oftentimes I saw myself as a victim to these men. I saw myself as being done wrong. But now I'm recognizing that we have to see ourselves as no longer being victims. We are not victims in these situations, you guys. We are power players. When individuals are victims, that means that we're accepting that we're powerless. You know, like there was no way to avoid the assault. That's what a victim is. When you're walking down the street and out the blue, boom, somebody just knocks you upside your head. That's a victim. We are not victims, y'all. We have discernment, and that's something that we have to be so honest about, because see, no one knows the discernment that we have, because no one is in our spirits. No one knows when you've gotten the instinct. No one knows it but you. You and your spiritual father, who I call God, know when that discernment was revealed to you. And oftentimes, the both of y'all know it was very, very early before you pursued that relationship. For those of you that may not be spiritual, it's called instinct, intuition, okay? And many of you received that instinct and had that tuition as well prior to these situations. Whether you call it discernment, like I call it, or instinct or intuition, what it is something that forewarned us in these situations that we should not have been in them. But for a variety of reasons, and we can go into that, we chose to place ourselves in these compromised places or with these compromised individuals. And you know, y'all, I believe that there's power in that. There's power in admitting that. There's power in accepting that I did have the instinct, that I did have the discernment. And for whatever reason, I chose to look beyond that. When you can look at the times you may have felt you were mistreated or betrayed, and you can say, you know what? It was revealed to me that this person was dishonest very early. But for whatever reason, I chose to overlook it and still engage or participate with the behavior. If someone tells us that they are in a situation and later on we find out they're cheaters, what can we expect, y'all? Were we really, really duped? I'm going to say no. You know, we have to be honest with ourselves. At least not by the man. For those of us that do feel like we've been duped, we weren't duped by the man. We were duped by our anxiety about being alone, duped about thoughts of needing help, especially for single mothers, being compromised, or compromising ourselves by any means necessary to find companionship, duped by having low self-esteem, duped because we are fatherless daughters and have issues with abandonment. That's what's duped us. The insecurities that have grown from these broken places in our lives, making us believe that we're unworthy, making us believe that we need to over accommodate people in order to receive love. Way too needy for love. And when you walk around especially in these single streets, these hungry streets, with these type of vulnerabilities, we are very susceptible to exploitation, to being used, and definitely to being manipulated. It's very easy, and it's so important, you all, that we begin to recognize our vulnerabilities. And when I say vulnerabilities, I'm speaking about the weaknesses, the holes in our spirits that we walk around with, the pain that we carry from childhood trauma. You have to recognize them, and you have to work on repairing them, because if you don't, you can bet your bottom dollar on anything that I've learned in life that it will be the way that the devil comes to try to infiltrate you. He will send you that counterfeit that may seem to be everything that you want, but nothing that you need. They're going to be fine, y'all. Ooh, they're going to be so fine and charismatic. When I tell you, everybody going to tell you how great they are. Everybody going to tell you how much personality they have, how much friends that they have. I mean, they're going to have it all. They're going to be funny. They're going to be smart. The sex going to be great. I mean, they may even make a little bit of money and be friendly and share it with you. But when I tell you, his character is shady, y'all. It's a counterfeit, which is an image of something of value, but it really holds none. It's an exact replica of something of value, but it really has none. It's already been revealed to you in one way or another that you can't trust him. You've caught him in lies already, and they may be small lies, but you caught him in lies. You know he's a cheater. He's in a situation. He cannot demonstrate loyalty to you. He may be able to give you some money, but his affection is based on what you're doing for him, right? Being his peace. How about if one day you don't feel like being peace and really have an issue to discuss? He does not reciprocate the way that you do. You're putting your life on hold. You're making sure you're making time for him. He's not doing that. You're fitting into his life. He's selfish, not selfless. Okay? But you've been so glamored that you don't even realize that this man is selfish because he buys you something. You don't realize that the devil has all the money in the world. Buying you material things are nothing for him. But ask him to do something that really is meaningful, something that actually will inconvenience him. And oftentimes you're going to get let down. That's when you're going to see that he can't bend, that if it doesn't go his way, it's not going to definitely go your way. That he has the things that your flesh may want, but nothing that your spirit truly needs. Nothing you can truly build a home on. How many rich women are walking around miserable because of them being in relationships with men who, are rich, but can't give them what they really want. These men have all the material things that they want, but do not have the character to give them what they truly need. As women, we know, as real individuals, men or women, we want respect. We want commitment. We want loyalty. I want to know that when I turn my back, I don't have to worry about you giving someone else the love that you're giving me. I want to know that I want protection. We want to be protected, our love to be protected, the sanctity of our relationships to be protected, so that we can be vulnerable with you in order to achieve true love. These are the things that we want. And that's all based on character, y'all. Can't nobody buy that for you. And even in today's pop social media world, you'll see young women like Jada, who has left the relationship with almost the number one rapper, Lil Baby. For what? Cheating. She can get whatever she wants from this man. But what she wants is so much deeper than materialistic things, and she's learning that. As well as the young lady Ari, Moneybagg Yo's girlfriend, who, I give it to you, she loves to call people broke on social media, but most recently she's become very vulnerable, clearly sharing that she is not happy emotionally. In a relationship, she's not happy. It's deeper than having Bentleys and bags, y'all. They're showing us, and what we already know, those of us that have been in these types of relationships, that it really turns into, can I trust you with my heart? Do you value me like I value you? Do you put me on the pedestal that I put you on in your life? Are you safe for me to love? Ultimately, is your heart safe enough for me to build my future on? I don't want to go biblical, but I want to know, like when the Bible says, when the floods rise and the storms beat against this house, under it all, are we going to shake? Will our relationship be founded on a real rock? Too many of us have been in these toxic patterns for too long. It's time for us to stop being a victim. We are not victims. We are power players. We're power players, y'all. So let's move forward with solutions. How are we going to do this? I have 3 recommendations that I believe really do work, and I hope this is helpful to y'all. Number 1, you have to recognize that you are enough. I'm going to say it again. You have got to recognize that you are enough. Because in this world, especially if you listen to the talk from the media and all these negative energies, it is going to make you think that you are not enough. And you have to realize, you have to say to yourself that you are the cake. And anything on top of that cake is just extra. I say to single mothers, you need to be the cake. Your children are the frosting. And if a good man comes in your life, he's the sprinkle. But guess what? If the sprinkle goes off the cake still tastes good, whether it's there or not. You cannot be single and needy in these streets. You cannot be waiting on a man to become the cake. What I like to call single woman stalkers out here. That's what I call them. Single woman stalkers. Married men trying to manipulate single women into being their concubines. Exploiting single women's loneliness, especially single mothers, especially their need for financial assistance or just for moral support, And then we have to also deal with the single men out here right now who are so spoiled. We are in a day and age where single men want a whole lot for a little. You got men out here who really expect women to be vulnerable with them way too early. Men asking women to share pictures of their body in the first week that they've met them. And it's like, if you're not, you're a prude. You have men who are expecting a woman to not want to wait 90 days, 6 months. Definitely not before marriage to have sex. I mean, if you're one of the women that are waiting before marriage to have sex, then from what society is telling us, that's a recipe to stay single forever. So all of this combined has some single women compromising themselves, doing things they wouldn't typically do, accepting conditions and relationships that go against their true character just to be in a relationship. And this is not happening to just regular women that we don't know about. Right now you have Ashley Darby from Real Housewives of Potomac, and Princess, Ray J's wife, beautiful woman. And they both come out saying they were engaging in sexual practices to satisfy their husbands that they really did not want to do anymore, that they naturally were not inclined to do. Which brings me to step number 2. Stop making fundamental character changes to coexist in a relationship. And I'm going to say that again. Stop making fundamental character changes to coexist in a relationship. One of the biggest mistakes I have made in all of my relationships, and I mean all of them, has been going against what I knew was right to accommodate somebody else. Allowing someone to talk me out of my discernment, talk me out of what I knew to be true. I mean, I have let people talk me out of what I knew in my spirit. It's very startling when you sit back and watch how you can just be glamored to go against what you know to be true. I met someone and we were friends. And I knew in my spirit that we should have always just been friends. But due to those vulnerabilities that we spoke about, recently I had become a single mother. I was lonely. I was truly in need of moral support, and I needed a friend. And our friendship resulted, unfortunately, into a relationship. A relationship too early. I had made accommodations, y'all. You know, the man was sweet. Oh, he was so sweet as pie to me, y'all. And he smelled so good. And when we spent time with each other, it was like we were in our own world. Actually, I believe that for years we created our own world. But this world was most definitely built on sand, y'all. It was all built on sand. And I must say, it has been my most painful breakup because I adjusted my character more than I ever had to accommodate being in this relationship, to be able to exist in this relationship. But if I'm honest with myself, and it's taken a long time, long time for me to get here, I knew better. I could tell everyone else and play victim to everyone else, but when I was alone with myself, with my Father, in my prayer, I knew that He had revealed things to me. I knew that I had the discernment. And more importantly, I knew I chose not to ask the questions that I needed to ask or hold myself or Him accountable when I found the answers. And that's my fault. I owe myself an apology for doing that to myself. And too often, we're seeking an apology from those who we want to say have done us wrong. But guess what? That's us, y'all. These were our choices and our decisions that we made because of our brokenness and our neediness. That's what led us here. That's what kept us there. And that is what leads me to the last step, number 3. You got to forgive yourself and you have to move in strength. Sometimes we stay in patterns because we get so depressed about the decisions. When we come to these revelations about the mistakes that we've made, we can get so depressed about it that we now stay in the places that they've led us. We give up. Say, well, it's too late. I've already endured so much. And we can start just settling for less because of our feelings of unworthiness. It's like the guy who gets a football scholarship, but then gets hurt and doesn't go to the NFL. So does it mean that he should just give on his dreams for success? Does it mean that now everything is just over? Just throw your life away? Of course not. But what it does mean is that there's a new path. And when we begin to do these 3 things, we do start going on a different path, y'all. Number 1, recognize you are enough. Again, you cannot be needy in these single streets. Number 2, stop making fundamental changes to your character to coexist in a relationship. If you have to change your fundamental character beliefs to coexist in a relationship, you're headed for trouble. And number 3, forgive yourself for any of the poor decisions that you found yourself making and move in strength based on those mistakes. You cannot have a testimony if you've not been tested. And guess what? Sometimes we got to fail those tests to learn from them. Sometimes the best testimonies are built on failed tests. Forgive yourself and move in strength. And it's a war against the devil, y'all. And that's one of the reasons why I said in my trailer for Never Stop, I'm doing this podcast. I want to break the pattern and I want to break the strongholds that he has on many of us so that we are content with the time, the lonely time that we sometimes have to spend to develop ourselves, to repair these holes that we have in our spirits so that we understand that we'll be able to navigate through these counterfeits and not be emotionally needy for individuals when they come in our lives. I've been so empowered practicing these things that when it is revealed to me that someone lacks the character that I'm looking for, I have no problem letting that situation go. Where before I might have tolerated, I might have stayed around to see more corroborating evidence. Now, you guys, no. When it's revealed, I am content with myself enough to not need to engage with that person that I can cut that off and continue to heal, continue to work on myself until something better, something that I can really, again, build a house on comes my way. You've got to do this, you guys, because those abandonment issues will have you staying with somebody for years and years and years, wasting your time because you're not empowered to walk away. You feel like you owe someone something that they're not even giving to you. It's time to break the pattern. It's time to take accountability. It's time to become a power player. It's time to be a lead in your life, in your destiny. The Lord gave you this life to live. He didn't give it to anybody else to live it for you. You're responsible for the outcome. I hope today's podcast, episode 3, You Did Me Wrong, breaking the pattern of toxic relationships. Hope you guys found something meaningful today. Please contact me through my social media. I can be found on TikTok at Never Stop with Shari. I could be also found on YouTube. And you always can email me at neverstopwithshari@gmail.com. Please subscribe, download the episodes, and let me know what you think, you guys. As my great-grandfather always said, may you live as long as you want to, and want to as long as you live. Be blessed and have a great day, you guys. Never stop.